Hi everybody, and welcome to Transmute With Me. My name's Eric, and today we're gonna do some smithing while I talk about um, what I want to see in this channel, where I want it to go, hopefully how it'll benefit you, how it'll benefit me, maybe hopefully a few more people than that. But before we get into all that, we're already on the smithing, but before we get into the rest of it, go ahead, pause the video, get yourself a cup of coffee, tea, whatever other beverage you feel like, and I'll be right here when you get back. So Transmute With Me came about because I have been on a personal mental health journey for the last decade or longer. I'm not even sure when this all started, but I do know that it was exacerbated at the very least by my military experience, and I've spent years on years fighting with my own personal demons, especially in the area of self-worth. I never felt like I was actually a valuable member of human society in any way, shape, or form. I was kind of always an outcast, but at least that was my perception, right? Like, that wasn't real. I had friends. I had people around me that loved me very much, and I did contribute to some communities. Maybe not all of them I was a part of, but some. And so at the end of 2019, I kind of hit a breaking point as far as self-worth and all that stuff goes. I reached a point where I couldn't continue the way I was going anymore. I hated feeling like I did all the time, and I really couldn't see that ending without some kind of action on my part. So I started looking into how to feel some kind of value in myself again. And I found an article. It was a very good article written by some psychologist organization. I can't remember who. I'm going to try to find it, put a link in the description. All about self-worth and where it comes from, how to build it yourself. And it listed off a series of questions to ask yourself. And I took those questions and I made a journal. And it was life-changing, let me tell you. I know it sounds like I'm pitching a cult, but, well, it is my experience. I went from always being super depressed about everything and constant fear of what would go wrong in the future to being actually pretty self-confident and not holding myself back as much as I was doing. And I'd like to show you guys how I did that, what steps I took to get where I am today, and what steps I'm going to take in the future. Because honestly, I'm a work in progress. I'm not done. I have lots to cover, and I'm gonna have to learn a lot more over time. So, because of all that, I started Transmute With Me. Because I feel like people can benefit from this experience, right? I haven't done a very good job of showing you this part of it, because I'm trying to build it up into a business that can support itself as well. And that's maybe where I'm going wrong here, but we'll get to that later. At any rate, I've never actually been directly asked why I called it Transmute With Me, but there is a reason for that name. It's an invitation, an open invitation to anyone out there who happens to see these videos, look at my YouTube, or look at my Instagram, Facebook, any of that stuff, and feels like they need to make a change in their lives. Because change is scary, but honestly, it has to be done. And if it's not being done with intention by you, the change that will come about isn't what you want. It won't meet your goals. It won't help you be better. So, yeah. So why all the crafting parts of this? Well, honestly, transmutation is an external thing as well as an internal thing for me. Part of my journey, as much as I gave credit to that article entirely, was the fact that I also, in late 2019, decided to finally get off my butt and become a blacksmith. And yeah, I just admitted I am very new at all this. I'm even newer at everything else that you've seen me do so far. All the leather work, the woodwork, that's all new to me. But it's amazing how much creating something, even if you're brand new at it, even if you're not very good at it, feels good, right? It takes you and gives you a reason to say, I don't know how to express this well, but it shows you that you're worth more than just what you see about yourself. Like, how can someone who can create such stuff be as worthless as I felt? That doesn't make any sense. And so that was the opening salvo, really, was me learning how to blacksmith. I took a class, I made some cool stuff, showed it off a lot, and came to realize that people were amazed by my work, and that was strange to me. And even without other people being amazed by it, it was still really cool. And I made things I use in my everyday life now that have made it better, right? So, once again, how could someone make something that at least useful without having some worth in and of themselves? It didn't make much sense. So, the reason I chose Transmute for the name is partially, the with me part is the invitation, right? You come along, you change along with me. And transmutation is a word for a magical process of change, right? Like, you're never going to see me do magic. It's just not how this works. But the mundane world is more magical than we think. Truthfully. Like, even in this screen right here, just me playing around with my forge, honestly not getting a whole lot done that I can just film and be like, yeah, this was my project today. I am dealing with temperatures that are well outside my direct understanding of how the world works. Like, honestly, I never will experience 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. I hope not, because that would literally, well, it would do some horrible things to me, and I don't want to find that out. And metals being kind of plasticky and pliable is not something that we're used to. It's strange and feels really cool. And it's because of safely harnessing those temperatures that I can do the things I'm doing on screen right now. It's hard to comprehend fully. Even though it's very simple, and it's right there in front of us, scientifically speaking. It feels like it shouldn't be, and that's the magic in it. And that's in everything too. Like if you cook a wonderful meal and you feel it, you know how people say something's made with love when they make food like that? Like, they're not lying. You can feel the extra effort, the extra little bit of spice or whatever they added to it, specifically because they wanted whoever ate it to enjoy it. It it's magical in and of itself, and that's just cooking. We do that every day. We take it for granted. The fact that we can hop in a car and drive farther than it would be possible to walk in a day, or even run in a day, in less than an hour. That's magic. It's we don't understand how it works properly, most of us. Some of us do, but those people are just the wizards that make it possible, right? So when someone turns wood into furniture or a house or something better that enriches someone else's life, they are doing magic. Make no mistake there. Same with metals. You turn those into tools. These are the foundations of society right here. Like, I'm making on screen right now a very, very humble hairpin. But I could just as easily, well, maybe not just as easily, but I could also make a hammer, an axe, things that we use every day to make the other things. We also make the weapons we use to protect ourselves out of metal. And yeah. And you've seen me work leather before. Honestly, when we first get leather, it's useless skin. It's going to decay away really quick. So, without our added effort, without the magic that we put into it, it is nothing, but it becomes clothes and containers and blankets, rugs, and all kinds of great stuff. But anyways, I've heard some things, sometimes philosophers, sometimes people that believe in real magic, they say, like Wicca and all those things. So there's a phrase that gets thrown around. As without, so within. Sometimes it's said as above, so below, in Christian circles, those kind of things. But when you do these things externally, right, it's an opportunity to examine your own life and figure out what needs to be changed, how you can change yourself for the better, because honestly, yourself is just another aspect of your life that you can control and change and use to benefit you and others. But you have to do it with intentionality. Otherwise, well, you can rest assured you will change over your lifetime. But it's not guaranteed that the change will be for the better unless you choose it. So, what do you want to change into? How are you going to get there? What's it going to take to get you there? Those are all really important aspects of this, and you got to think about them. You got to really consider the costs, the outcomes, and yeah. I was told when I was growing up that anything was possible so long as I believed in myself. And as a young adult, I found out that just wasn't true. We kind of had this great idea about that, but we learned later that it was not really accurate. The world just doesn't work that way, and you have to work at it if you want something. So, to claim that if you just believe in yourself and hope for the best, or believe in some higher being and hope that they'll guide you, or anything like that, anything that does not require your direct intervention, it doesn't work. That brings us to the next part. By asking these questions and deciding what we want out of our lives and how to get there and what it's going to cost, what effort it's going to take, we've actually made a plan, right? And so the next step is to start working the plan. Go out, take those actions. As long as you're not hurting anyone else, or anyone at all, then these things are exactly what you should be doing. Because living a fulfilled life, where you have felt like you made a difference, is probably the best way to feel better about yourself. Every now and again, be sure to check your progress. I've made a goal to be a millionaire. No, I haven't, not really. But let's say I have. If I haven't put aside any money to invest in anything, or saved in any way, or done any of the steps that it would take to get there, then I'm not making any progress. Or even if I've done the things wrong, right? Like, it wouldn't work. Doing the wrong steps doesn't get you any closer. In fact, it may take you further. But that's why we check. We go back, we look, we make sure. And the last part of this is to never allow yourself to feel like you've arrived at your self-improvement goal, because everyone is a work in progress. Every single person on the planet has more work they can do on themselves, and that's okay. That's great. Because if you're honestly working on yourself, then you're not stagnant, and you're not just sitting still. And that's where problems start coming up, right? Like, if you're just waiting around, then you're never going to get anywhere. In fact, you may find your situation worse, because the world will change around you. Anyway, I hope you're going to find this kind of content interesting, because we're going to see a lot more of it. I want to bring this kind of message to the world, even if that world is the 10 people I currently have listening sometimes. I'd like to make an impact in some way, because I feel like there's a lot of people that went through the same struggles I did, and maybe, just maybe, finding your way out of them would be easier with a little bit of guidance. I didn't have that, not until I found that article, and that was not the normal guidance you get for these kind of things. Anyway, if you like what you saw, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. Tell me how you're changing. I would love to see what changes you're currently making in your life to make you better. And as always, transmute with me.